Rommel Shunmugam, who is a conservational filmmaker and uh, photographer. And so, Rommel, why don't you explain what you do?
Yeah, so it's conservation filmmaker. That's how we call ourselves. So what I do is I make films on wildlife. I also make books on wildlife. They are targeted for children mostly. The books are targeted for children. The films are targeted both for children and adults. The idea of making these films is that it will help save the habitat, it will help save wild animals, and also it will sensitize our citizens to the importance of the environment around us.
All right. So, what was your main motivation to become a conversational,
Conservation, as in conservation of.
conservation? Yeah. Okay. So, conversational photographer, filmmaker.
Also, the motive was, I travel quite a bit to the wildest areas, and I see that our forests are being cut, the animals are being killed, and essentially we are losing, uh, our forests and our wildlife at a very alarming rate. Um, the speed at which we are killing our wildlife, the speed at which we are cutting the forest, far exceeds the rate at which we are, conserving animals, the rate at which we are regrowing trees and stuff like that. It is, it's a terrible feeling to go into a forest with the 300, 400, 500-year-old trees and to see them being chopped down for to be used as furniture, to be used as firewood. It's a dreadful feeling. So when I saw all this was happening, I decided that instead of making a film which would, fetch me a lot of money, I would rather make a film or I would rather make a book which, children from that area will read and will understand why it is vital for them to save animals and to save the forest.
All right.
So that was my inspiration. That was that's why I got into this.
All right. So, how do you make use of technology today, and how do you think technology will help you tomorrow?
Okay, so the best thing about living these days is technology is changing. Cameras are getting smaller. You have broadcast quality cameras which you can hold in the palm of your hand. The prices have fallen down. When I started my journey into film and television around 25 years ago, the cameras used to be much more expensive. We would need to hire cameras, to uh, make videos. Nowadays, you can have a camera of your own, which means you have a lot more time. You need not really need to spend money. Technology is really helpful because, for example, today I can have infrared cameras which help us see in the night. I can have, a pinhole camera. I mean, what do you call that? A camera, the tip of a wire, which will actually, which can be slid into a snake pit. You can actually put a
Problems.
little probe into the nest of a wasp, which will be
Yeah.
a very tiny thing. So technology is a very big, it reveals secrets which hitherto unknown, not easily seen except for the someone who would cut open the wasp nest. So you don't have to do that. You don't have to dig out the snake's nest. Now you can put in the camera and see what's happening inside.
Yeah. Okay. So, what skills do you think it takes to succeed in your field?
So first and foremost, you need to have storytelling skills. So there are cameramen are a dime a dozen. Uh, Filmmakers today are diamonders, and anyone who has a camera thinks and takes a photograph. It's so easy to take a photograph today because we have digital cameras. You click and you have cameras for dummies. The camera does virtually everything. So you just point and shoot. You have a picture. They think now they are filmmakers. Unfortunately, it's not so. Uh, Films which attract your attention are essentially stories. So the first and foremost skills for you to become a filmmaker is that you need to be a storyteller. You need to understand how the entire film comes together. How do you craft it in such a way that it holds the attention of the viewer? So that's the biggest skill. Now the secondary skills are, of course, how you handle the camera. How do you handle the camera in such a way that you get professional, results? Say, for example, if it's raining, if the light is low, if the light is harsh, how do you adjust your cameras? Where do you focus? Do you focus on the eye of the bird, or do you focus on the body of the bird? How do you set exposure? I mean, these are technical things. These are the tools of the trade which you can master. But the most important thing is the storytelling, aspect.
All right. So, what guidance do you have for those who are looking to be a conversational filmmaker or conservational, right?
Conservation.
Conservational filmmaker in today's time, or just a filmmaker in general?
Yes. So this field is, developing very fast. Even in a city, I go to, forests, for example, on the Indo-Myanmar border. I go to forests where nobody else goes. But even in a city, you can explore what is going on in a garden at night. What is the relationship between the insect sitting on a leaf and the bird which feeds on it, and how the whole ecosystem is connected. So you need to
Your
find out
phone is
what is
ringing.
happening. My phone is saying, can I break and
Okay.
take the call?
Sorry?
Or can I switch it off? Okay, I'll just turn it off for a while.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where was I? I think there's also big demand. People want to know what's going on in your neighborhood in relation to uh, plants and trees. You have probably realized in Mumbai, in RA colony, the trees were being cut, and then people gathered. They took pictures. They made a difference. They made a difference because they took those pictures. We saw those horrible pictures of the trees, full-grown, healthy trees all being decimated, all being cut. That created a positive impact. So that is what is important. Get out and do these things. You of course you have to learn a little bit. Storytelling is a little different from essay writing. While writing an essay, you're sort of displaying your knowledge. You're telling your teachers primarily how much you know about everything. But while if you're telling a story, it's more like you you want you want to you want that person, that unknown person sitting across the table who is viewing you on a mobile phone to listen to you and to get interested in what you do. So that's a skill worth learning. But once you learn it, yeah, you're going to make a big difference in your local community and even globally.
Okay. So thank you, Roman. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome, Johan.